With the Premier League starting in just about a month, I wanted to give my predictions for who the top 6 is going to be and where the top 6 traditional teams are going to end up at based off of the current transfers that they've done. And just as a recap, this is how the table ended up last season. Spurs in 17th, United in 15th, Chelsea in 4th, City 3rd, Arsenal 2nd, and Liverpool 1st as far as the traditional Big 6 goes. The teams who ended up in the top 6 were the 4 I just mentioned, plus Newcastle and Villa. Now I am going to start with United. Obviously I'm a bit biased, but I don't think I'm going to be super biased. As of today of this recording, United have only completed the signing of Matheus Cunha and Diego Leon, and they're on the verge of hopefully, after the third bid was officially submitted today, to get Bryan Mbeumo. So with those two being the only signings, although United needs a lot of more sells and a lot more buys, I'm going to predict that United's going to get into the top 10. I know, crazy to even say that as a United fan, but the board hasn't done many moves, and I do expect improvement because Ruben Amorim is going to have a whole preseason with the team, so I would expect on that front for the team to improve as it is today. But as far as the team needing improvements and only adding Matheus Cunha, I don't see them going up into the top 6 as of today. I think if they do get Bryan Mbeumo, there is a good chance for them to get into the top 6, although again, I do think they need just more than attacking players. Next, I'll go to Spurs. Spurs is a wild card to me. They did get a new manager in Thomas Frank, who is a good manager, who just left Brentford. And they did add Kudus to the team, which I think will, of course, improve them. But the biggest issue last season was the injuries. If I'm not mistaken, in his first season as Spurs manager, they were able to get 5th place, which is great for Tottenham. But then obviously the following season, they did get 17th, which is horrible. 1 spot away from relegation. So I really don't know what to expect of this Tottenham team. They're getting a new coach. The coach is a good coach, but he was at Brentford for a few years. And Brentford did have a good attacking duo in Wissa and Mbeumo. And it's not to say that Spurs don't have any good attacking players, but again, last season they were inconsistent and there was a lot of injuries. So it's just a matter of how good can they perform consistently and can they stay fit? Especially last season with Spurs beating really good teams, but then losing to really shitty teams. This is extremely a wild card. Like, I want to put them above United, but at the same time, my bias is kicking in and I'm like, there's no way. So as of right now, I'm going to say that they'll be below United. Just the fact that we don't know how consistent they're going to be. And they just got a new manager. Next, I want to talk about Chelsea, who just got 4th in the Premier League. I think Maresca exceeded expectations for his first season in charge. And I want to put them into the top 3 because they just beat PSG. They've been playing really good. And the signings of Delap and João Pedro are going to help out tremendously. But I'll explain why I don't think they'll get top 3, and I'll put them again at 4th. The reason I don't put Chelsea into the top 3 is because of the other teams and their signings. Which brings me to Man City, who I think will end up getting 2nd place. Man City just had a bad season, but they still somehow got 3rd place. And with the signings of Reinders, Cherki, and Aït-Nouri, I don't see how they can drop below 3rd place. Honestly, I'm just going to be a hater because I'm a professional hater, especially for Arsenal. I think Arsenal is who's going to get 3rd place. So I think City's going to get 2nd, and obviously that ultimately leaves me up to Liverpool in 1st, unfortunately. I think especially if they do get Isak or Ekitike, there's no way they don't get 1st again. Because they have Mohamed Salah, who just had a career best season, if I'm not mistaken. And now they're adding a striker who can score a lot of goals. Hopefully, because I think Frankfurt scams a lot of teams when it comes to strikers. Their strikers perform really good for Frankfurt. The second they leave the Bundesliga, they don't put up the same numbers. And obviously, I can't forget to mention Florian Wirtz. I almost forgot about the transfer just because it happened so early on. But Liverpool is strengthening in that position as well. They have another player who can score, assist, and create, which I think is something I don't want to say lack, because obviously they just won the Premier League, so you can't really lack that in that department, but they're definitely improving on by a lot. And I think replacing both Alexander-Arnold and Robertson with the signings that they got in Frimpong and Wirtz, I mean, it's been one of the best seasons in recent times I've seen from Liverpool with their transfers. And then we have Arsenal, who I think is going to get 3rd. I think at most 2nd. And here's why. Number 1, I'm just a professional Arsenal hater. My brother's an Arsenal fan, so it's obviously a lot funnier to banter with him because he banters with me about United. But the signings that they did, getting Kepa, that doesn't strengthen the team, and I'm talking like starting 11. Does it add depth? Yes. Zubimendi, does that help the team? Yes. But was that something they really needed? Well, obviously after Partey leaving, I would say yes, but I don't think it actually pushes the team to win the Premier League. And of course, adding Norgard, same thing. Is he a good player? Yes. Does it help the team? Yes. Does it push it over the line? In my opinion, no. I think what they're still lacking is a number 9. And obviously, it sounds like they're about to get Gyökeres. If they get Gyökeres, I think there is an argument for them to get 1st place. But again, I'm just going to be a professional hater. They're not going to win it. And obviously also Madueke, do I think he's a good player? Yes. Do I think he's worth his price tag? No. Do I think he's going to improve the team? I think so. I think he could start over Martinelli, but Arsenal fans can disagree or agree with me. You can even call it a wash. Even if Martinelli does still continue to start, I think that further proves the point that they need to strengthen on that side. And now that leaves me with the 5th and 6th place. 5th place, I think Newcastle will stay in 5th place if they keep Alexander Isak. If they don't, I don't see them getting in 5th place. I mean, they added Anthony Elanga, which is a great signing in my opinion, especially he came from United. But if you get rid of your striker, that's a lot of goals that are just gone. So they would need a really good replacement. And I would rather see Ekitike go to Liverpool than Isak go to Liverpool. So I hope he stays at Newcastle, and I hope they can get 5th. And for 6th, I'm just going to keep it at Villa because Nottingham Forest lost Elanga. It looks like they're going to lose Gibbs White. Who knows? Which were 2 important players for their team. Chris Wood would have to have another spectacular season. Not saying he can't. I just don't think he can replicate it again. And as far as I'm concerned, Villa hasn't sold anyone. So, and I think they do need to sell people, but I don't know if they have or if they're going to anytime soon. So again, as of today, I would put that. But all in all, that's my prediction for where the top 6 traditional teams will end up and what the top 6 is going to look like. It honestly is really similar to what this season just ended like. But again, I think because of the transfers that have been happening, Liverpool got extremely stronger, in my opinion. Man City got stronger, in my opinion, but there was a 13-point gap. So you can maybe argue 1st and 2nd between them two. Again, I'm just an Arsenal professional hater, so that's why I put them 3rd. Chelsea, I don't foresee them overtaking City or Liverpool. Maybe they can overtake Arsenal, but that would be me just being a hater just because if Arsenal does get Gyökeres, I don't think they can get below Chelsea. I don't think Chelsea would get above Arsenal. So that's what leads me to believe that this table is going to be relatively the same, except maybe Liverpool and City. They might be 1st and 2nd. So who knows?